So what you can do when you're awakening, when you're going through all your spiritual stuff and you realize no one around you gives a shit, what you can do is take that as the practice. You know, that is the practice. That's where the practice is gonna really shine. It's gonna say, okay, you think your meditation is working, you think you're on a spiritual path, well, do the work, baby, because here it is.
Okay, dude, you ready?
I know words, I have the best words.
I remember the moments when I first started having my spiritual awakening. Like when I first started looking around and recognizing the mystery unfolding around me in all moments. I remember no one understanding. And I remember that being such a pain to be going through such a transformational experience and not really have anyone to talk to, or not even really know how not really knowing how to put it into words. The people in your life are really going to test you, because most people don't care. Most people like just want to go to work and eat food and watch TV and not think about all these existential things that are going to throw them into a panic attack. Who wants to think about their place in the universe when you can watch Game of Thrones or Stranger Things? I think it can be really discouraging for people to continue self-discovery and even kind of self-love in a way when they don't have a supportive ecosystem, a supportive relationship ecosystem. I think it can be really discouraging when you don't have someone in your life to talk to this stuff about, because you know you can have these experiences and not know how to put it into words, not have anyone to talk to, and then it just kind of goes, you know, because you're not hanging on to it, you know, it's just sort of, and then, you know, I really think back to when it started hitting me and how my depression and my ex-girlfriend at the time was such a catapult for me to see myself. It's like I threw my shit boomerang out into the world and it just hit everybody around me and came back and hit me right in the face. And now here I am. Not only did I fall in love, but I also had my heart broken. And to be confronted with those two things in a little compacted, packaged time period, it can do wonders for your own self-love, your own relationship with yourself. For a long time, I was really crushed that she didn't understand what I was going through, and I don't even know what I was going through. It was just like, it was just shedding all these things I thought were me, you know? It was just like finally letting go of like a huge backpack of weights I've just been carrying around. And I remember just coming to a point where I'm just like, why am I carrying all this weight around? Why am I subjecting myself to being in relationships that aren't beneficial for me? They're not healing. They're not spiritually enriching relationships. They're just kind of people I have in my life that are just kind of in my life, you know? There's no really exchange happening. It's just, and like thinking about that eventually just led me to a place where I just had to honor people's places in your life. You know, I had to look at myself and I had to examine why things are the way they are. You know, I'm ultimately in control of my life. You know, you're not in control of your family and stuff like that, but you are in control of yourself and the way that you react to your environment. And that really does have a lot to do with the way that other people perceive you and the way that other people perceive themselves. You start to realize that it's not your place to bring someone to where you're at or to expect someone to understand what you're going through. You can't throw that responsibility onto someone, because like you, they're going through their own kind of shit too. They're lost in their own world. We all think we're the center of our universes, and we have trouble acknowledging that everyone feels like that. We're all the main character of the story. So what you can do when you're awakening, when you're going through all your spiritual stuff and you realize no one around you gives a shit, what you can do is take that as the practice. You know, that is the practice. That's where the practice is gonna really shine. It's gonna say, okay, You think your meditation is working? You think you're on a spiritual path? Well, do the work, baby, because here it is. You know? That's where the work is hard. It's easy when you're hanging out with a bunch of hippies and you guys are all just floating around, but the real work comes in those moments of oh yeah, people really don't give a shit. Humans are contagious creatures. If you're ever just at a restaurant or something and you hear a bunch of people start laughing and you look over and you see their smiles and stuff like that, you're instantly brought to that. You're instantly elevated to you don't even have to know what they're saying or what's going on. It's just, you know, we're all mirrors to each other. We're all reflecting stuff. And equally, if you're around an asshole or if you're around a fight or something, it brings the energy down. You can almost just feel it. If you're around someone in a bad mood and they're not even talking, you can just kind of feel the denseness of the energy, or the air just feels heavier. And that's the real work. The real work is when you're in those moments and you're still shining love. You're still mindful. You're still examining yourself from a place of a heightened spiritual sense. Ram Dass used to say something like, if you want to heal somebody, you can't expect to just go to them and say, come on, raise your consciousness, you know, get where I'm at. You have to really put yourself in their shoes. You know, we've all heard that quote our entire lives. Put yourself in someone else's shoes. You have to bring yourself to where they're at. And you have to be a mirror for them. You have to be a reflection for them to see themselves. And through them being able to see themselves, you're holding a space for them to heal and for them to finally see themselves enough to wake up to the moment. And I think we all can do that. You know, you don't have to try and make your friends or your family or your girlfriends spiritual. You don't have to raise them up. All you have to do is be in a position to where they can see. You have to hold space. You have to just be love. You have to be love. Instead of holding on to some idea that like people just don't understand what I'm going through, you know, I'm having all these crazy cosmic downloads and they're just worried about Instagram likes or something like that. You don't have to bring yourself down and care about Instagram likes to resonate with them, but what you have to do is you have to embody love, embody the spirituality. And you know, if you embody love, there's not a person on this planet that can't resonate with you. You know, you might encounter some dickheads, but if you persist long enough, they will crack. This is a good Ram Dass quote that I want to read for you guys. I feel like it's kind of relevant to what we're talking about. He says, "When somebody provokes your anger, the only reason you get angry is because you're holding on to how you think something is supposed to be. You're denying how it is. Then you see it's the expectations of your own mind that are creating your own hell. When you get frustrated because something isn't the way you thought it would be, examine the way you thought, not just the thing that frustrates you. You'll see that a lot of your emotional suffering is created by the models of how you think the universe should be and your inability to allow it to be as it is." Let me read that last line again. You'll see that a lot of your emotional suffering is created by your models of how you think the universe should be and your inability to allow it to be as it is. The art of listening comes from a quiet mind and an open heart. The quieter you are, the more you hear. So if we can put ourselves in a position to where we can just be present for somebody instead of trying to elevate them to some place they're not ready or they're not at, then I think this is when true healing starts for the people in our lives, and it starts for us. You know, your healing is ultimately my healing. If you become more of a compassionate person and I am around you, like I said, we are all contagious creatures. We are all contagious creatures, and yeah. So if you find yourself, you know, if you find yourself in a room full of people that don't understand you, they don't have to. They don't have to. That's the beauty of it, actually. They don't have to. And you are welcome to be a weirdo. And if they don't understand, they don't understand. But I think it's they don't have to understand, and you don't have to make them understand. Your path is your path. This is the mystery. You are in a mystery right now. None of us really realize it because we're all in the middle of our lives. We're all doing something, and it distracts us from what's going on. But we are all in a mystery that is beyond language, that is beyond anything that we are able to talk about. But it's us. The mystery is us. So by default, we are spiritual. There is something divine unfolding all around us. And that's the truth. That's the truth. So what that means is that no matter who you are, no matter what circumstance you find yourself in, that's who you are. And if you can just communicate that without words, you know, you can communicate that simply by invoking it within yourself and just through living through that. And that's kind of what I'm saying. Is that take all of these things, like Ram Dass, another good Ram Dass quote, he would say that if you think you're enlightened, spend a weekend with your family. I always love that quote because that's where you can see how successful your spiritual practice is, or how successful you are at remaining mindful. Is be with your family, you know. Those are the people that know you best. Those are the people that you know best. And yeah, I don't know. I hope this video had something useful in it. It's taken me a long time to realize that, like, it doesn't matter what people think or what people don't think. It's taken me so long to figure it out. But when you realize that it's all spiritual, then you understand people's predicaments. You feel compassion for them. You feel it. You know, it's not like this thing where you're like, oh God, here they come again. I have to be compassionate. It's not like that. It's like when you realize that it's all divine, that it's all unspeakable, then you understand that people are just people. They're just thrown into this situation, and you can understand that. I get it. I get why you're like that. I get why you're like that. I don't think it's who you actually are. I think there's something deep in there, and that one day the light will crack out, and through me being my light, hopefully it can reflect back to you or shine bright enough for you to see your own light, you know, to shine through your own darkness. And that's all we can do. That's all we can do for the world, and it's all we can do for ourselves. You know, we all want to change the world, and it starts with these simple things of just changing the way we see the world and changing the way we see ourselves. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, my name is Dakota. If you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I make videos like this all the time. And I'm actually getting ready to go to India with Steffi Lee, who's one of my friends. She makes YouTube videos also. Your mate Tom, some of you guys might know Tom. He's one of my good friends here on YouTube also, and we made a couple podcasts together and stuff. And Clara, you guys know Clara. From me and her made up some videos on this channel, and she's got a YouTube channel called Spirit Vehicle. We're going to India, baby. So that's coming in a couple weeks. We'll be there in a couple weeks. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If you guys would like to support this channel, you can head over to Stay Happy, Stay Weird and get yourself a t-shirt made by me. Stay happy, stay weird. Life's a trip. That's what this whole video is about. Life is a goddamn trip, and we're all tripping balls. We're all tripping balls. We're all tripping balls, baby. We're all tripping balls, and it's all good. It's all good. So, I don't really know what I said this video, and I kind of feel like I didn't get to the point. But I hope some of you understand my thoughts, what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? And if you don't, well, I guess it doesn't matter. Because I think that's what my point was. What were we even talking about? Okay, I don't know. Click subscribe.